The fourth strategy that we're going to look at is called Picture It. And the aim of this strategy is to help learners connect to the text through visualizing information to create meaning. So you want learners to be able to begin to visualize or make mental images of the information that they are reading to help them create meaning and understanding. And often we do this in our heads already. So when you're reading a novel and you're reading about a character, you've already got a mental image of what you believe that character looks like. And this is important as it helps you create a deeper understanding and connection to the text that you are reading. So learners can make mental images through pictures, diagrams, equations, mind maps. Again, they can be in the learner's head. But if learners are not prone to this way of thinking, because everyone learns differently, you're going to need to prompt them and help them. And please remember that visual learning is such an important part to multisensory learning. Again, there are key questions or prompts that you can give to the learners to help them to develop this way of thinking, because not everyone thinks in pictures. Some learners it comes more naturally, and for other learners they're going to need to work on it. And again, it can be on a scrap piece of paper, it can be at the back of their books, it doesn't matter, but they need to somehow visually represent what they are reading. So you can ask them to describe or draw what pictures they have in their head while they were reading a piece of information. Can they describe the picture that they made in their head? Can you illustrate this information as a picture, diagram, or illustration? And what are you visualizing? So let's work through a practical teaching example. Again, we're going to look at a piece of text about photosynthesis, and I'm not going to read the text to you. I'm going to focus on the prompts and the questions that you can ask in your classroom. The first key question is, what are the pictures that you have in your head, and can you describe it? So you will read the paragraph about photosynthesis to the learners and then ask them to read it silently to themselves. Then ask them to turn to their partner sitting next to them and to describe what images they formed in their head when reading this information. As you can see, although it's focusing on visualizing and images, the learner doesn't need to actually have to draw it. They're going to describe it to their partner sitting next to them. So a learner example response could be, I was picturing a plant in the kitchen cooking on a stove, and it was putting in water and carbon dioxide into a pot to make food. That's a lovely visual image to have to help learners understand the essence of photosynthesis. Another key question could be, can you illustrate this information as a picture, diagram, or an illustration? So many learners feel that they can draw or illustrate the images that they have in their head. And so you can ask them to draw these images. And remember, it doesn't have to be a picture. It can also include equations and some writing as well. And again, the emphasis is on some form of drawing or illustration. There really is no right answer. Again, this strategy is to assist learners to connect and work in that active understanding zone with the text. And here's an example of how learners could possibly illustrate the paragraph that they've read. It could be a simple equation, water plus carbon dioxide equals glucose. Or it could be more in a picture format where you have the sun, you can see the energy coming down, the inputs into the plant and the outputs, and that they both capture the essence of photosynthesis. So this strategy you might not use as often in the classroom because it's quite a different approach or teaching methodology to get learners to draw pictures, but it is such an important way to include those learners that are more visual and to have a more multi-sensory approach to teaching in the classroom.